All right, let's talk organic channels checklist. What do I mean by organic? I mean owned channels. That's going to be email, SMS, anything else you have access to, newsletter, etc. And it's going to be some of your less owned channels, but are still organic, like social media. I know social media is pretty much pay to play these days, but there are certain ways to put out content that resonates with your audience, and I think it's something that a lot of brands struggle with doing consistently, and it really shouldn't be that big of a struggle. So we're going to tackle through some of these. Send emails out regularly. What this means is make sure you're on a cadence. Like once a week, you should send out an email. Even if it's an email to your most engaged list from the last 90 days, send out an email. It doesn't have to be something spectacular. It doesn't have to be a sale. It doesn't have to be an offer. It just has to be a company update. It just needs to be something that allows you to connect with some degree of your customers. Emails are banner ads in an inbox with permission. That's it. There's a reason why Google sells ads in emails and Gmail. It's because people see them and some people click on them. There's still a viable place to put an ad. By sending out an email, you're placing an ad in someone's inbox. Think about that. So whether or not they open it, they're still seeing it, they're being remembered of it. That's the way it works. Segment your list. Segment your list. Understand what people care about, who the right people to talk to, and how to talk to them are. I don't believe in hypersegmentation, but I do believe in broad segmentation towards certain people that have hit certain thresholds, etc. Should personalize. Uh, you should personalize your messaging to their segments. Yes and no. What I mean by personalization is that you should bucket people into lists where you can help them through product discovery phases. If you're collecting data, for instance, as we showed earlier, about what matters to people in a product, for instance, front pouch support, etc., you should go find reviews to integrate into their customer journey during their welcome series or send out a campaign specifically to them pulling reviews. Hey, we have over 10,000 reviews on our website. Here's the three that match most closely to the data that you provided us. That's helpful. That's something of value. It helps people do something right. Branch should email in the lifestyle theme of their company. Sometimes people aren't in the mood to buy stuff, but they're subscribed, and as long as you keep it light and airy, relevant to the lifestyle that you implore and that you're like pushing out there, people are still going to be interested in what you're doing. We made a very concerted effort to do this on the founder led for Krakatoa Underwear, where every 2 weeks or so, the founder will send out an email that's kind of long form about, life lessons. He's 58, almost 60, so he's got a lot of life lessons over multiple careers. So for him, sharing life lessons for things he's working on comes a little bit more naturally than some of the overly salesy stuff. So his goal as a brand and a mission is to touch everyone in a positive manner and be able to help them have a great garment that gives them the power and the confidence to go be their truest form of themselves. I know it sounds a little hippy dippy, but it's a genuine feature trait of the way that everything is conducted for the business, which allows it to align with customers in a very specific way. So that lifestyle theme is what carries through all the communication of the emails. It's not about sales; it's about the contributions being made in the world that happen to result in sales from people aligning with that mindset. Uh, you can fulfill promises through own channels. If you promise to do something through own channels. Encourage other people to do stuff through own channels too. Like that's kind of the way this goes. If you're making a guarantee, make sure that it like stands up through everything. Brands should drive traffic outside of paid media channels. This is hard for a lot of brands these days. The quickest route to scale is actually paid, and I'm not gonna be here to say that it's not. The quickest route to success is customer journey mapping and data collection. That's 100% the quickest way to success. Is the difference of going from a 1% conversion rate to a 7% conversion rate. Um, the stuff that you're learning in these lessons right now is the keys to the castle in order to have a high converting, well performing website that's able to integrate customer journey touch points throughout. If you do it right, you're going to drive organic traffic from that experience because you're going to have more people that convert. The more people that convert, the more people that touch your product, the more people that are able to share about your product, and the more traffic you're able to drive via word of mouth. It is all correlated. So little efforts that help all these things happen stack up and compound. Uh, and it might not happen overnight, and usually it doesn't. But I can give you five or six different examples of stuff that we've done throughout the years that have given us a competitive edge away from paid media that have allowed us to increase growth over time strategically and not be as reliant on paid. Everyone's going to talk about SEO and all that. Most SEO actually drives the wrong traffic. I do believe in SEO for product titles that will get you in front of the right people, but you're better off just having a unique brand name so people search the brand name and then you win Google Box for your brand name. So when you're going through all these things, start thinking about how you can own SEO, but through like branded search, because branded search makes most brands the most amount of money for the most part. There's a couple brands that do really well via SEO, but it usually takes a long time to perfect in order to drive that traffic on through. But paid is your number one way to scale in a quick fashion and do a lot of testing in order to understand what audiences to go after. Brand should always be launching new products via organic channels. 100%. Structured limited releases are a huge thing, and collabs are also a huge thing. Collabs can get a little bit annoying and take some time, but structured releases of products 100% work. If you order a new product and it comes in four different color variants, you should not launch all those variants at once. You should tease out the first couple, then follow with the second couple, etc. And you should do it in a scaled way that makes sense. I can't emphasize this enough, but there's so many brands that make this mistake of just dropping entire lines at the same time. Following the road of what Nike's done, Nike continually releases new colorways of shoes, then drives up hype for all of their new releases, even of like Air Max 97s. I mean, we're talking stuff when I was like 13 years old is still showing up. Uh, and that's 26 years ago, and it is still showing up now in under new colorways or revamped colorways. So own channels are super key for this. Bringing colors back, bringing different models back works super well. And that's where you should be launching some of your limited edition stuff because you've already got good fans in that. Build a community around a broader lifestyle. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this for kind of like a different course in terms of like a strategy of how to do this. Most of the time, I think people have been trying to build communities around a brand instead of a brand lifestyle. The most successful communities out there are built around lifestyle, not brand. Um, and the gut reaction from most brand owners is, "Oh, I don't want to advertise or even tip my hat to competing products." Your customers are looking at competing products anyway. I run a community for golf product releases. Um, I don't sell anything in that community. Instead, I just share knowledge within that community and look for brand partners within that community in which to share stuff. So I think that there is a very good way about building a structure within a community that has specific value to it. And I do believe that communities built around lifestyle are way better than communities built around a brand. And I don't think you can effectively ever build a community around a brand as it's very, very complicated to do. Nike and some of the bigger guys have done it through running apps and things like that in order to like have another touch point, contribute, etc. And I think those are really great when you have all the money in the world. I think for most small brands, though, it's just not really the way to go. Brands should be highlighting customers in their communications. 100%. I talked about this previously, but your customers are your gateway. You are founder led until your customer count so eclipses your founder ledness that everyone knows about your brand, and then your customers are what leads you. It's the same thing with any large brand where they sign a very big athlete to be the face of the brand. You are founder led until that happens. Respect the frequency of sending out communications. What I mean by this is you don't need to be emailing people all the time. Everyone that says you need three campaigns a week or whatever in order to drive revenue is kind of full of shit. And they're setting offers and deals and specials in order to drive revenue because they're working from an agency capacity where they actually need to be doing work in order to make revenue in order to justify their costs. A lot of the times, if you build a good customer journey, people come back on their own. And I do really, really mean that. Like, there is no need to bombard people with emails. In fact, in the entire month of July, we did not send any email campaigns for our entire brand and still had a nice high blended ROAS. So, like, it's not needed. I tell you to do it and I tell you that you should be doing it, but it's not completely needed. You should be doing these things and they will aid in your overall business perception and the amount of people you get in front of. But with intent, like really with intent, I think is the key there. If you're going to send something, know why you're sending it. So let's jump into these questions. We're sending emails out to our list. Do we have a reason for sending? What a great segue. Yes, no. It's pretty simple as that. Like, people only care about a few things: a super sale, a new product launch, company update. That's about it. Like, so know why you're sending and know the meaning behind sending. Do our emails have a consistent sender? Funnily enough, sometimes they don't. Some people shift it up. Have a consistent sender for all your emails. There's no need to be switching that up on a regular basis. Our emails have a consistent format. I'm a strong believer in this. I think that emails should have a consistent format. I think that they don't need to be super heavily designed. I just think that they should follow a layout and that should work. Do our emails come as a result of an action by a subscriber or campaigns? This is really between flows and campaigns. I believe you should have both, but I believe that the majority of people are happy with flows because they come to expect them relevant to behaviors that are taken. Campaigns, on the other hand, can go the completely other direction and they don't need to be salesy all the time. They can actually function around things that make sense for the user that they're interested in. A new product drop, a new line, a new color, whatever it is. Let them know about an activity that you participated in, give them a company update, tell them what's going on outside of just the company business. Like, that's, as much as people argue with me on this one, like, we're trying to humanize and we sell people to people, people sell to people. People don't just buy from brands. That's just, it's not the way it works. Are we segmenting our lists? Does our segmentation involve intent-based actions? Is our segmentation being used to measure intent? Different content, different timing, additional variables, versioning, goal. Start in reverse. What's the goal of our segmentation? Are we trying to personalize a message? Are we trying to segment people by intent based actions? What are we doing to figure out why we're segmenting? I think people have this idea and everyone tells them, oh, you should segment, segment, segment. But really, what that is it's usually an agency or an email person that's taking a small subset of your list that they know is highly active that's going to juice their numbers so that they can report that they have a high open rate and a high conversion rate. This stuff has been going on for years. And whether you work agency side, you work for a brand side, etc., like, you can segment your way to a super high open rate. That doesn't matter. You can segment your way to a super high conversion rate. That doesn't matter because you can obviously make more money and more revenue by sending to a broader swath of people. So you need to figure out where it's right to do this. Should you differentiate your content to different people if you want to split test things to different swaths of people based on intent and action? 100%. If a whole bunch of people are looking at a specific collection of products, you don't want to send them a different collection of products. You want to, like, lean into that with some more data and more information related to that. Are we personalizing our messaging to our segments? Are we personalizing the subject lines, content, copy? Are we actively raising the quality of our work for our segments? So I used to have this big thought process that personalization was super cool and very easily doable. And then I realized it's very complicated and your net gains are not completely there. Should you segment your list? 100%. Should you segment your list and personalize reviews and products that are in front of them and the reasons for that? 100%. Does it matter long term outside of flows? No. Your welcome flow is probably your best chance of getting anyone, and that's about it. And even then, when we look at time to purchase across welcome flows, it is 43 days on max, and that's for the remaining 25% of people. So if we split this in half, you've really got, oh, I don't know, less than 30 days to transact with someone before they get to the last 15%. And these guys are either going to happen or not based on being reminded or recommended. In other companies that we monitor for this stuff, it's even quicker. 90% of people are usually within the first 2 days uh, to no more than 6 days. So I don't think it's as necessary as most people are putting it out to be. So if you're working with an agency or you have someone that wants to do extreme segmentation, unless you have clear, concise data that says that these people are more or less likely to convert and you want to build customized paths for everyone on their way in, via the welcome series within the first two emails, it's not really worth it. There are quick wins that we have within the system that tell us what to do on the responses side just based on sheer raw numbers. And you can personalize an email campaign to these people and you will see results. We have tested this, but you have to do so within the first 7 days. And it can be an additional campaign to the one that you're sending out. It does not necessarily need to not come in because of the welcome series. Your welcome series should not be based on selling. Someone already came to your website, they showed intent, they signed up, they've already seen what you have to offer. It should not be around selling. It should be about something else. It should be about the collection of information relating to the data that they provided you and packaging it up into a contextual package that allows them to make a decision. That was a lot. Let's deconstruct it. Your website should have context driven. We know that your website does not always have context driven on it, as is noted by the lack of product page context. So if there is no context on this page, makes it very hard for us to add to this. Whereas if there is context on a page, there isn't a lot to add to the individual emails. It's going to share something that wasn't already available on the product page. The only time a welcome series works is if you're sharing stuff that you didn't already share on your product page because you were lazy. I really do mean this. Your conversion rate is not a factor of your welcome series. No matter how many ESPs like to claim, that's email service providers, like to claim that they're driving all this revenue, they ain't. They're really not. They're taking credit for delivering an email and seeing an open rate of 50% on that first email, and then seeing revenue come in as a result of that email, because most people are going to convert within a day of that, and they have a 30-day attribution period. It's completely rigged. It makes zero sense whatsoever. And people that say abandoned cart emails make them money, sure, they make a little bit of cash. Why'd they abandon it in the first place? What's your add to cart to conversion rate? Like those are the numbers that you should be focusing on, because if you don't have all the data on that product page, then someone's going to add something to cart and they're going to leave. If you don't have all the details on the checkout and the returns, then someone's going to add to checkout and then they're going to chicken out and leave, depending on what the shipping costs are. Like these are all the things that happen, and this is how they work. So knowing how head these parts off earlier in the customer journey is going to make it easier for you to get conversion rate. I believe at last check, our underwear site has about a 50% add to cart to conversion rate, which is pretty ridiculous. That means 1 in 2 people that add any item to cart end up purchasing. Pretty crazy. So around this personalization, subject lines, yes, personalize those. Content, yes, only if it directly relates to a data point provided by the customer. Copy, usually not really too much of a need to do that. That's more of the content and copy thrown together there. Um, Quality of work for our segments. Should we be improving stuff? Yes, collectively we should, but only on the things that matter. We shouldn't worry about the other things. Do our emails incorporate broader lifestyle of our audience? Are emails entertaining? Do they bring in lifestyle elements loosely related to our brand? Do they build? We covered this a little bit there. If you are a golf brand, share about golf. If you're a running brand, share about running. If you're an exercise brand, share about exercise. There are so many different ways to do it. The 10,000 CC guys that were featured earlier in these lessons, when I bought those shorts, all I wanted to do was know 3 exercises I should take them through to understand how they worked for those exercises, and I got none of that. I got buy more shit. Um, that's a gap in the customer journey that could have been completely solved if I did an exercise and uh, they followed up and they said we're really designed for this. If how they work for your run, we might also suggest these for running, etc. Whatever would have been pretty beneficial. Make them entertaining. Like your job is to connect with people. Writing is a powerful thing. Talking is a powerful thing. The ability to connect with people is so key. If you can do it right, uh, you can transport someone to a new place and you can make that connection happen. So spend time on that. Uh, do they appeal to people in our lifestyle? Like, are you talking in the same language as other people? Do so, and you'll find success there. Do our emails fulfill our brand promises when people sign up? They should. Um, what are you going to be sending me? Why do you want my contact information? That's never really answered in a welcome series. We've gone the route of actually telling people what to expect from the welcome series, what to expect in terms of emails. We make it really clear. We know they're signing up for a discount. We know that we're grabbing data in exchange for a discount, but then we tell them in that first email what types of emails that we're going to send. And I think that's really important is setting the stage for what kind of communications you want to send. Do we stay on task with providing entertaining content? People love content for the sake of entertaining. There's millions of people that browse Reddit on a regular basis aimlessly just to get a laugh out of something or be educated or learn something. Like we are seriously a dual screen generation at this point where we're watching TV, we're browsing the internet, we're looking at homes on Zillow, we're doing whatever the hell else we're doing. And it needs to be entertaining. If it's not entertaining, we're not going to share it. Like you think of all the videos that you've shared or Instagram stories you've shared in the last little bit, a little bit most of them were funny. So if we took our approach differently and said we should share only funny stuff so that people share it, got a higher chance of going viral. I mean, is it going to drive sales? Maybe, maybe not, but you're going to get passed around and talked about. And anytime your brand gets talked about, you're better off. Um, do we do we keep our emails to minimal sales? This one's kind of important. There's so many brands these days that got into trouble and don't really understand their unit economics and their cost to acquire customers, their customer journey, that they just shove sales emails out over and over and over in different sales periods. And that's their only way of driving revenue. Revenue isn't profit, though. So whenever I see people that are driving nothing but revenue and just sale after sale after sale after sale, I got some serious questions about the health of the company. It also tells me as a consumer that I have no incentive to purchase outside of these select sales times. That is not what you want because then you see a chart that looks like this, like this, like this, and you get your peaks across. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in peaks. I believe peaks are artificially created. There are certain times where people are more likely to buy products than others. However, they're not around most sales times. For most products, it is seasonality and or gift giving, and that is it. There's a lot of companies that try to make their entire revenue bit on Q4, which I think is completely silly. I think that you should progressively be growing as a company and it should be standard up and to the right the entire way. And that's just the way that it should work. This is reverse up and to the right goes this way, right? So keep them to a minimal of sales. You let people come in through the stories. I shared a story earlier where emails sent out highlighted certain members of our community, and those made more revenue than our sales emails. It's a true story. People want to see themselves in other people. So you don't always need to be selling. Are we driving traffic outside our paid channels? Are we leveraging organic social media? We talked about this a little bit, but how do we do this? It's being entertaining. It's interacting with people. It's answering questions. It's being active. It's commenting back on posts where people leave comments. It's feeling free how to do that. We're looking to leverage partnerships. We're finding other people that are in a space. Everyone's competing, but everyone's also suffering at the same time. Stuff is not as easy as it was 10 years ago. You reach out to a marketing manager at a similar company, and I guarantee you guys are going to get along and go grab cocktails or whatever and figure out ways of what's working, what's not working, and talk to each other through things. We're a collaborative group these days. The go let's fight to the death thing just doesn't exist, not for small brands at least. Small brands are all just trying to figure it out together. How are we creating new organic channels? This one's a little bit harder and stickier to kind of get into, but you're looking to find people adjacent and audience adjacent because when we run ads on paid media, we're running towards conversions because we need to run ads with the highest chance of getting someone to convert because we need to drive traffic directly to our site. That's the most likely traffic to convert so that we can have clean numbers and understand what that looks like. That is not the same if we're driving to other new organic channels where we have more liberties to drive to lifestyle oriented content and build an audience around stuff, survey that audience, and then release products for that specific audience. It's a complete flip on a strategy here. Most people are not employing this. There's very few that are employing this in very specific niches that work on this, but there is a gap and an opening for doing this properly, uh, which leads us to creating a community. So, without going too far into details on this, organic channels are a catalyst to create a community. Can you use a community that already follows you on socials in order to create a more broad community around a lifestyle instead of a product or a brand? Um, can we use that community to self sustain without us? That's the very definition of a community. Will it still exist without you as a product? Will the owners of your product still exist if you fail to make any more products? Are we supporting the community growth through our own channels? How do we support community growth? How are we helping community members connect with each other in a way that provides value for them outside of us as a brand? Are we looking to politely leverage this community for future growth? Huge difference in there. When you're building a community, you want to have some degree of an incentive why people are part of that community, and you want to provide them some access in exchange for value. Communities exist on their own in order to help people figure out and discover things. Forums still exist to this day. It is the year 2023, and forums are still where a lot of people ask questions and get answers because they want to leverage that community to find that. It is possible to do this at scale and be the source of all this stuff. Um, like we have a community that plays in the golf space. Like we actively aggregate, certain things around golf that work out for the broader community in general. There are ways to leverage this, and there's a lot of opportunity to leverage this. If you're taking this course right now or this lesson, and there's not a lot of places to aggregate the right courses other than Udemy and stuff like that. There's no breakdown of what you're going to learn in some courses and figuring out, what's going to be a good fit for different people based on their needs. Like there's going to be groups that exist. In fact, if you're watching this right now, there's a good chance that you came in through one of our kind of like paid community leverage things in order to build up community around learning around about e-commerce and customer journey. We practice what we preach here. Like it's all the same. Like how do you leverage existing tools in order to build um, owned assets that make sense? We're highlighting customers in our emails. We chatted about this earlier a couple times. Your emails should highlight customer and customer behavior. People want to hear about others like them. They really, really do. And those are the kind of experiences that you want to share with people so that you can better relate to people and kind of get buy-in as to you as a brand and build trustworthiness. Um, we're using our platform to show up different types of customers we have, come in all shapes and sizes, all different walks of life. Everyone's just trying to find themselves in a brand or a product or something else, or know if a product's right for them. There's no reason to be shy about that. We're working with our customers to aid them in their goals. Um, this is a broader lifestyle thing. If I run a golf company or people are also interested in getting better at golf, sweet. Can I partner with someone that's doing free online lessons or an app that's doing that? Yeah, 100%. How do I leverage out some benefits for my community when they don't need to buy any more of my products? How do I keep them around? How do I stay relevant? Those are all things that are super important. Are we able to move from being a product company to a brand through community? Very difficult to do. I dare say almost impossible to do. There's very few that have been able to do it. Red Bull has been able to do it. Uh, Not so much Nike, but they tried. Red Bull's probably the one of the bigger ones that's been able to do it, where they were a brand, but they're better known now for their media. There's a couple other companies that have entire media divisions that do a very, very good job of this, but it's few and far between where it's actually truly community led. Um, is tough. It's really, really, really tough to figure out how to make that transition happen, where your community is the main existence and your product depends on them. Uh, but it almost comes second nature. Liquid Death's done a pretty good job. Tesla's done a pretty good job. It's difficult though. Are we respecting inboxes with purposeful emails? These are like the this is reads like the backwards version of why people unsubscribe. Sending too many emails, the messaging is all the same. There's no entertainment or value in any email. The normal, consistent cadence is lacking. Um, the number one way for people to unsubscribe to your emails is when they get a coupon code and use it, and they don't want to hear from you, or you're sending too many emails with random stuff in them. That's it. So uh, customer journey, company journey comes back into this. Like, what would you want to receive as a customer from a brand? And there's only a couple things that you want to receive from a brand: a gentle reminder that they still exist, something fun and entertaining to make them feel better about themselves. It's just the basics. It's literally just the basics. So I say don't overcomplicate this, but we try to get really, really witty and crafty when we create emails, and honestly, some of the funniest stuff is just dialogue written in movies. So it doesn't take much to make people laugh. Watch a couple episodes of South Park, and you'll find out pretty quickly that the dialogue's just hilarious. So when you're writing stuff to your customers, if it's not a sale, a new product drop, or a company update, what's going to make them laugh? You're probably going to be better suited for that. Now, everyone that's going to get on me right quick here on brand and everything else, I've told you time and time again, like brand does not matter. Until you are around for 20 plus years, brand is the least of your worries. And even if you're around for 20 plus years, like in Allbirds, and you launch stuff and you go IPO and then your stock tanks by 95%, your brand doesn't matter. Your brand did not carry you through. So, again, build a quality product, send it out to as many people as possible. Be part of the entertainment space where you are definitely helping people get there. Um, and that's how you're going to figure out exactly how to uh, continually entertain and be top of mind for your consumers.